The morning of August 18, 2025, started like any other for the team at NBC's The Today Show, with the usual buzz of excitement as they prepared to welcome country music superstar Chris Stapleton for what was billed as an intimate, heartfelt interview and performance. Fans crowded the Today Plaza in New York City's Rockefeller Center, eager to catch a glimpse of the 11-time Grammy winner, known for his soulful voice and raw, authentic lyrics. Stapleton, fresh off a string of sold-out shows on his All-American Road Show tour, was expected to perform hits like Tennessee Whiskey and White Horse while sharing stories about his recent collaborations with artists like Post Malone and George Strait. The atmosphere was electric, with the crowd buzzing and the hosts Ahoda Kotb, Savannah Guthrie, and Craig Melvina ready to dive into a conversation about Stapleton's meteoric rise in the country music world. But what unfolded over the next hour would shock viewers and spark a firestorm of debate across social media and news outlets. As the segment began, Stapleton appeared relaxed, his signature cowboy hat tilted slightly, and his wife, Morgan, by his side as always, ready to join him for a duet. The hosts kicked things off with lighthearted banter, asking about his tour, his iconic hat, nicknamed Precious by his crew, and his unexpected friendship with former NBA star Dwyane Wade, who was spotted in the crowd cheering him on. But as the conversation shifted to more serious topics, a subtle tension began to creep in, setting the stage for an explosive moment that no one saw coming. The interview took a sharp turn when Craig Melvin asked Stapleton about his thoughts on the current state of country music and its intersection with cultural and political issues. Stapleton, known for keeping his personal views private, seemed hesitant but began to share his perspective on the genre's evolution, touching on its roots in storytelling and its growing inclusivity. What started as a thoughtful discussion quickly escalated when Melvin pressed Stapleton on his past comments supporting the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, a topic that had previously drawn backlash from some fans. The question appeared to catch Stapleton off guard, and his response was measured but firm, emphasizing unity and the power of music to bridge divides. However, the tone shifted as Melvin doubled down, asking pointedly whether Stapleton felt country music was doing enough to address systemic issues, a question that seemed to strike a nerve. Stapleton's demeanor changed, his jaw tightening as he leaned forward, clearly uncomfortable with the direction of the interview. The crowd, sensing the shift, grew quieter, and Morgan placed a hand on his arm, a subtle gesture of support. By this point, the interview was teetering on the edge, and what happened next would become the talk of the entertainment world. As the tension mounted, Stapleton's response to Melvin's probing grew sharper, his Kentucky drawl carrying an edge of frustration. He acknowledged the complexities of the issues but redirected the conversation to his music, emphasizing that his songs, like White Horse and Starting Over, aim to speak to universal human experiences rather than political agendas. The hosts, perhaps sensing they'd pushed too far, attempted to pivot back to lighter topics, with Ahoda Kotb asking about his collaboration with Dua Lipa on Think I'm in Love with You at the ACM Awards. But the damage was done. Stapleton, visibly agitated, began to fidget with his hat, a telltale sign to those familiar with his understated demeanor that he was reaching his limit. The crowd, still packed tightly in the plaza, began to murmur, some shouting words of encouragement, others whispering about the awkward exchange. Social media platforms like X lit up with real-time reactions, with fans divided as some praising Stapleton for standing his ground, others accusing the hosts of ambushing him with loaded questions. The interview took a brief commercial break, giving everyone a moment to regroup, but the unease lingered. When the show returned, Stapleton was slated to perform Broken Halos, a song about redemption and loss, but his body language suggested he was no longer fully present. As the band struck the first chords, Stapleton stepped up to the microphone, only to pause mid-verse, his voice faltering. In a moment that stunned the audience, he shook his head, muttered something inaudible to Morgan, and abruptly walked off the stage, leaving the band playing to a confused crowd. The hosts scrambled to fill the silence, with Savannah Guthrie offering a quick explanation about technical difficulties, but the cameras caught Morgan following her husband off stage, her expression a mix of concern and frustration. Backstage, sources later reported, Stapleton was overheard expressing his discomfort with the interview's direction, feeling it had veered into a territory he hadn't signed up for. The Today Show team, caught off guard, quickly pivoted to a pre-recorded segment, but the damage was done. Clips of the walk-off spread like wildfire online, with hashtags like #ChrisStapleton and #TodayShowClash trending within hours. Fans and critics alike began dissecting the moment, with some speculating that Stapleton's reaction was less about the questions themselves and more about feeling blindsided on live television. The fallout from Stapleton's dramatic exit was immediate and intense. Within minutes, X was flooded with posts, some defending Stapleton's decision to walk off, arguing that he was entitled to protect his boundaries, while others criticized him for what they saw as an overreaction to fair questions. News outlets, from Rolling Stone to TMZ, picked up the story, with headlines ranging from Chris Stapleton storms off Today Show after tense exchange to country star's meltdown shocks fans. The YouTube video titled "Chris Stapleton Stuns Fans After Abrupt Exit from Today Show Interview," posted on August 20, 2025, racked up millions of views, with commenters debating whether the hosts had crossed the line. Some pointed to Stapleton's history of avoiding political discussions, noting that his 2020 comments on Black Lives Matter had already cost him a portion of his fanbase, as evidenced by a Reddit thread from that year where fans expressed disappointment over his stance. Others argued that the Today Show hosts were simply doing their job, pressing a public figure on issues relevant to the genre he represents. Behind the scenes, sources close to Stapleton revealed that the singer felt the interview had been framed to provoke a reaction, a sentiment echoed by his wife, Morgan, who later posted a cryptic message on Instagram about staying true to your art. The Today Show issued a statement later that day, expressing regret for any misunderstanding and praising Stapleton's contributions to music, but the apology did little to quell the controversy. Fans who had been at the plaza recounted the moment on social media, with one ex-post describing how Dwayne Wade, still in the crowd, appeared visibly surprised by the turn of events, later telling reporters he respected Stapleton's authenticity. Meanwhile, Stapleton's team remained silent, cancelling a scheduled appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert that evening, citing unforeseen circumstances. The incident sparked broader discussions about the expectations placed on artists to engage in polarizing debates, with some commentators drawing parallels to similar walk-offs, like Meghan Trainor's reported clash on The Kelly Clarkson Show just days earlier. As the day wore on, the narrative began to shift, with some outlets suggesting that Stapleton's walk-off was a bold stand for artistic integrity, while others framed it as a sign of the pressures facing country music's biggest stars. The next day, August 19, 2025, the story continued to dominate entertainment news, with pundits and fans alike analyzing every detail of the incident. On X, a viral thread compared Stapleton's walk-off to his 2023 confrontation with fighting fans at a concert in Mansfield, Massachusetts, where he paused his show to call out disruptive behavior, telling the culprits to get the hell out. That moment, captured on video and widely praised, had cemented his reputation as a no-nonsense performer who prioritizes his audience's experience. Some fans drew parallels, arguing that his Today Show exit was a similar act of taking control, refusing to let the interview devolve into a spectacle. Others, however, saw it as a misstep for a star known for his grounded, relatable persona. Radio hosts on stations like 99.7 The Wolf, which had covered the Mansfield incident, weighed in, with one DJ calling Stapleton the real deal but questioning whether walking off was the best way to handle the situation. Meanwhile, the Today Show hosts addressed the incident on air, with Hodakot acknowledging the uncomfortable moment and expressing hope that Stapleton would return to the show in the future. Craig Melvin, who had asked the pivotal question, took a more reserved approach, simply stating that interviews can sometimes take unexpected turns. Behind closed doors, reports suggested that Stapleton's team was in talks with NBC to smooth things over, Though no official statement came from the singer himself, the controversy also reignited debates about the politicization of country music, with some pointing to Stapleton's indie roots with the Steel Drivers and his collaborations with artists like Jason Isbell and Sturgill Simpson, who have been vocal about social issues. A Reddit thread on our country music stuff resurfaced, highlighting Stapleton's 2020 backlash and the genre's ongoing struggle to balance its traditional roots with modern sensibilities. As the story spread, Stapleton's peers began to weigh in, with Post Malone tweeting support, saying, "Chris is the truth, let him sing." The incident also prompted discussions about the role of morning shows in pushing celebrity interviews into controversial territory, with some critics arguing that the format often prioritizes viral moments over substantive dialogue. By the end of the day, Stapleton's walk-off had become a cultural flashpoint, raising questions about authenticity, media pressure, and the delicate balance artists navigate in the public eye. As the week progressed, the narrative around Stapleton's walk-off began to evolve, with more nuanced takes emerging from both fans and industry insiders. A Rolling Stone article published on August 20, 2025, framed the incident as a reflection of Stapleton's unwavering commitment to his craft, noting that his reluctance to engage in political debates stems from a desire to let his music speak for itself. The piece drew parallels to his 2017 Today Show appearance, where he performed Broken Halos and Tennessee Whiskey with minimal fanfare, letting his voice and lyrics take center stage. This time, however, the stakes felt higher, with the country music world grappling with its identity amid broader cultural shifts. On X, fans shared clips of Stapleton's past performances, like his on-PR Tiny Desk concert and his SNL appearance with Sturgill Simpson, to argue that his authenticity is what sets him apart in a genre often criticized for its commercialism. Some speculated that the walk-off was less about the questions themselves and more about Stapleton's frustration with being put on the spot in a live setting, a sentiment echoed by a source close to the singer who told Billboard that he felt boxed in by the line of questioning. Meanwhile, the Today Show faced its own scrutiny, with some accusing the hosts of chasing a gotcha moment to boost ratings. A post on r. Live from New York praised Stapleton's voice but questioned whether morning shows are the right platform for such discussions, with one user writing, "He's a singer, not a pundit." The incident also sparked a wave of support from fellow artists, with Kelsea Ballerini and Maren Morris posting messages of solidarity on Instagram, emphasizing the need for artists to set boundaries. By August 20, Stapleton's team announced that he would resume his tour as planned, with a sold-out show at Madison Square Garden, signaling a return to business as usual. However, the walk-off remained a topic of conversation, with some fans launching a petition for Stapleton to appear on a different platform, like Joe Rogan's podcast, to share his side of the story. The controversy also highlighted Stapleton's unique position in country music, a former songwriter who became a superstar without chasing fame, as detailed in a 2023 GQ profile that called him the one thing America can agree on. By August 21, 2025, the dust had begun to settle, but the impact of Chris Stapleton's Today Show walk-off lingered, shaping discussions about celebrity, media, and the role of artists in a polarized world. Stapleton himself broke his silence with a brief statement on his website, chrisstapleton.com, saying, "I'm here to make music, not headlines. Thanks to my fans for sticking with me." The statement, while understated, was quintessential Stapleton, direct, authentic, and focused on his craft. Fans rallied around him, with ticket sales for his upcoming shows in Denver and Hollywood, Florida, seeing a surge, as reported by Ticketmaster. The incident also prompted a broader reckoning within the entertainment industry, with outlets like Variety and The Hollywood Reporter publishing think pieces on the pressures artists face to address hot-button issues. Some argued that Stapleton's walk-off was a powerful assertion of autonomy, while others saw it as a missed opportunity to engage with the changing cultural landscape. On X, a fan posted a clip of Stapleton's 2015 CMA performance with Justin Timberlake, writing, "This is who Chris is: music first, drama last." The Today Show, meanwhile, moved on to its next guest, But the incident left a mark, with Hodicott reportedly reaching out to Stapleton's team to discuss a potential return. Industry insiders speculated that the walk-off could have long-term effects on Stapleton's relationship with mainstream media, with some suggesting he might lean further into independent platforms like SiriusXM's Chris Stapleton Radio, where he recently interviewed Mike Campbell. The controversy also underscored the tightrope country artists walk, balancing their fan base's diverse views with their personal beliefs. As Stapleton prepared for his next performance, backed by his band and Morgan, the incident served as a reminder of his roots as a Kentucky coal miner's son who never sought the spotlight but found it anyway. Whether the walk-off would define his legacy or become a footnote in his storied career remained to be seen, but one thing was clear: Chris Stapleton's voice, both literal and figurative, would continue to resonate, on his terms.